Listen, there's a good chance somebody's trying to hack your website right now. You gotta make sure you're covered.
Welcome. Let me give a few more minutes for people to join. We'll have another short meeting. Because our Getting to the Root series is really where we're doing a public education piece. This is just a business meeting for the most part. So welcome. Welcome. We're going to get started with the meeting again. You can find all our meetings on YouTube. So even though we have a small number today, we'll make sure that everyone gets a post of it in the Ward 7 Education Council's Facebook group, our social media, and the Greater Ward 7 Facebook groups, so that people can still get the information. Like I said, today is largely a business meeting to bring some important updates, because our public education part that has generally been a part of our Ward 7 Education Council meetings is really happening right now through our Getting to the Root series. So we're gonna get started. We were going to hear from the assistant superintendent of OSSI about high school graduation requirements. However, she got called into a meeting with the mayor, which is one of the reasons I didn't advertise that. I learned that on Tuesday. And so she's going to come to the March meeting to really talk about the process. We're going to go through a new process around what our high school graduation requirements. We want the board to be fully informed and engaged in the process, because pathways to graduation, as they're calling it, is an important conversation for us to be having to make sure that our young people are not only graduating, but are prepared well for their futures, post secondary options and opportunities. So that will be a big piece of it. There's a couple of other potential pieces, including Joe Paul, who used to be the CEO of Bite Back, which is an IT nonprofit, will come and talk about AI and the impact of AI on future job opportunities, young people, what they need to understand to prosper in the world of AI. And finally, we also will probably have a report from the Public Charter School Board on their accountability process. And so those are all on tap for March. Okay, with that being said, welcome. I don't need to introduce myself. People know me by now. Dr. Marla M. Dean, Chair Ward 7. I just always like to continue to flash on screen our core values, what we intend to do, what we hope to do, and what we hope to accomplish. What's the purpose of Ward 7? So here's our core values: equity, access, health and safety, joy, and responsiveness. Here are our goals: quality education, really preparing everyone to be a strong resident and citizen of our beloved ward and city, to make sure to work toward Ward 7 becoming a educational destination for Ward 7 families, that they don't feel like they have to leave the ward, to have options and opportunities for their children, and to make sure and protect a dedicated K-12 feeder pattern in Ward 7 schools, which is something we continuously fight for, in the last boundary committee study or work group that we were a part of for the city. We think we did get some wins there in terms of strengthening feeder patterns, making sure that HD had a single feeder and not a half of a feeder. And just continue to look at, make sure there's continuity and programming, that if you start in a dual language school, you can go all the way through K-8 dual language. If you start in the STEM, you can go all the way through. Whatever it is, that the options remain within the ward ecosystem. So we did get some of those wins, but much to continue to do to make sure that our schools are being treated equitably, receiving the high quality programming that our children and families deserve. We hosted our first in the series of Getting to the Root on February 19th at the Strand. It featured us viewing first the documentary Diminished Returns, which is about the Black wealth gap in Washington, D.C. We had the executive director of the film and the co-CEO of If, a Foundation for Radical Possibility there. She told us about the film. They had just come off the high of the previous weekend, winning the Best in Class for the DC Independent Film Festival. That means that's the top award. So it was great. We were one of the first community groups to be able to review it. And then we had a panel discussion between Temi F. Bennett, the executive producer, and Dr. Andre M. Perry, who wrote a book called Black Power Scorecard, Measuring the Racial Gap and What We Can Do to Close It. So powerful information there, well attended. We had food, we had fellowship, and we had a dynamic conversation. So that I just wanted to recap that. I'll talk more about what's happening in the future with our next one later. Okay. So here it's more about that particular session. And you can see Diminished Returns, the logo for it, as well as the front cover of Dr. Perry's book. You can pre-order it now, but it is released on April 15th, which is no accident because it's tax day. He is making a statement with making sure that that coincides. Really important information there for us to process, digest, and to incorporate in all decisions that get made in Ward 7 and around the city. More coming up on our next event for the Getting to the Root series, which again is co-sponsored by Elect Ed and the Health Alliance Network. We're going to have on March 26th, same place, same time, the Strand. We're going to have a conversation about the DC Kids Count Report, which is about the intersection of race, poverty, and education. And then we're going to have a conversation about the futures of Black children, DC actions. Executive Director Kim Perry and DC Fiscal Policy Institute's Executive Director Erica Williams will be here to talk about the DC Kids Count data, but also this joint report they did around a jobs guarantee for the Black children of Washington, DC, what it would mean, how it could be a real game changer. We're also going to have our community panel at this particular event. And we've received confirmation from Rockman Branch, Sheila Kurst, CEO of East River Family Strengthening Committee, Collaborative, sorry, Sheila Carson Carr, co-founder of Decoding Dyslexia, Christina Jones, the president of the LC Stokes East End PTA, Cinque Culver, the president of Ambeers PTO, Evan Allen, former Ward 7 commissioner, and an advocate for Black boys on so many different levels, including his Morehouse days that he has at area schools. They're going to really talk about and react to and respond to the data that is in the DC Kids Count report and the report on the futures of Black children, specifically around the unguaranteed job recommendation. And so that's going to be a great conversation that is going to happen on March 26th. So just here for you to just see the cover of the DC Kids Count report, of which you can find online. Actually, both reports are the QR codes there, and you can access both of the reports that are going to be discussed at the February 26th event. So really excited about this conversation. Two powerhouse women doing great things for the children of DC and just DC writ large, and really supporting children and families and equity in the city. And then our final in this series, at least we believe to be our final, will be a conversation on health and health equity, specifically around the social and structural determinants of health. And if you know about the social and structural determinants of health, they include education and access and quality, healthcare access and quality, neighborhood and built environment, social and community context, and economic stability. We also are going to talk about this concept of health in all policy. All policy is health policy because all policies impact the health and well-being of citizens, of residents, of communities, of families. So all policy is health policy. We are also going to have our PTO training. Really excited. Christina Jones, the vice chair of the Ward 7 committee, is leading this effort. It's going to be at the Joy Evans Therapeutic Recreation Center, June 14th, from 10:30 to 2:30. More will be coming out about that, but we really want strong PTA, PTO at each of our schools, and we're going to be working to make sure that that is present in our schools, and we're excited about this training that will be coming up soon. We are about to get ready to go into election season for the Ward 7 Education Council. And so we are announcing early the nomination committee. Next month, we will announce who has been nominated. But the nominations committee is Ruth Eiffel-Latoyson, founder and managing partner at Erudai, Sharona Robinson, manager of community affairs and engagement for DCPS, and Manla Deskins, director of advocacy and engagement for Ed Trust. So a really strong nominations committee will put out the email address for how you can contact them if you're interested in running for office for the Ward 7 Ed Council. But the committee has been announced, so excited about that. Elections, again, nominations will talk about who is nominated in March. A sample ballot will be produced in April. We'll begin the nominations process in March. A sample ballot will be produced in April, and we'll have elections in May. This year, we are having the process for the vice chair, the recording secretary, and the parliamentarian. And we, at this time, normally have our state board rep come and speak to us and give us updates. I have not received her ETA, so hopefully she'll come and give us some updates around what is going on in the State Board of Education. And so we can be fully embraced before the end of this conversation. So I am going to just check in and see if she's coming. Thank you. Okay, while we're waiting to hear from her, we'll continue. We continue to ask people to sign up for our committees, budget and finance programs, communications and outreach, legislative and membership. She's coming. Anyway, it is important that you're involved in committees to really understand all the things that we do at the Ward 7 Ed Council. And hopefully it's a pathway for you to become actually a leader. You know, I am truly hoping that this is my last year as chair. So I'm really hoping others will join the effort because it is demanding. You're in a lot of meetings all the time around Ward 7 Education Council, around education issues across the city. And we are also a part of the C4DC coalition, which is a coalition of ward ed councils and other groups to really support our DCPS schools, our neighborhood school systems. And you're constantly out and about and on committees and task force and commissions or around education. So we're really hoping to build up a real strong group of people to be involved in the process, because there's a lot always going on in DC in terms of education. We have a very complicated system. We have, of course, most people are aware of DCPS and charter schools, but if you're going to talk about at the infant and toddler or the pre-K, we have DCPS, we have charters, and then for pre-K, we also have community-based organizations. For infant and toddlers, we have community-based organizations, and then we have private pay. And when we talk about the government structures, of course, the deputy mayor of education is involved in the process. The mayor is involved in the process. The council is to some extent involved in the process because they have the budget and oversight. They don't have an education committee. So we also have the State Board of Education, which many people confuse with a school board. Each charter school has a school board. The State Board is not a school board, very different functions, very different responsibilities. And so as you can see with all these various entities, and then we have the charter board, right? And so with all these different entities intersecting and impacting the educational outcomes of our students in our schools, it is a complex system to navigate. And then each charter school has a school board, right? So there's a lot there. And so we want to make sure that people have a full grasp of the complexity of it all. And waiting for our state board rep, and we're going to end with our state board rep joining us to give us some updates. And in the interim, if anyone has any announcements around any education issues or any comments, please make them now as we get ready to bring them on our state board rep to give her update. Okay, with that being said, we're going to go back to our state board rep. I am going to pin you, Ebony, and stop share so that you can have the stage.
You can leave it on share. I'm off camera today. I'm
We
getting
can
over a
barely hear
cold.
you.
Oh no.
Oh no, I can hear you now. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm off camera today. I'm getting over a cold. I'm trying to keep my cooties to myself. So I'm also not going to the mayor's thing tonight at Rosedale. A few things that are true for the board. One, we are back on our regular public meeting schedule. This past public meeting was a long one. We didn't adjourn until about midnight. It literally was midnight. We had a lot of witnesses, mostly on the topics of budget, legacy admissions at Georgetown, and some on cell phones. We did pass a resolution supporting consistency or encouraging LEAs to have consistent policies around cell phone usage, because as of right now, some LEAs have them, some LEAs don't, most LEAs don't. And what we have, in my opinion, is not ideal. Also, if there are things that are needed to collect the cell phones or restrict the cell phones, like lockers or those little bags or whatever people use, we want to make sure we chime in during budget season in hopes that if something does pass from the council, that there isn't an unfunded mandate, that schools have what they need to go ahead and roll out these types of policies. We had already voted for a resolution in favor of banning legacy admissions in DC. I will say as a single member who is not as in favor of that, and I have my reasons. I voted that we go ahead and transmit our findings to council, or I think I abstained actually, but I do have some issues with that. I really do think that we should be holding universities accountable to not shy away from affirmative action, because they can still consider race in their policies, and many are just pretending like they can't. I really do believe that the folks who can buy a building and get their kid in will still do so. And we should just, do a better job of holding these institutions accountable. So, but that was up for a vote. We also now have started to assign committees. I'm going to be chairing the committee, which will be redoing our graduation requirements. That's something that has always been really important to me. I'm looking forward to engaging a lot of folks around that and making sure we have multiple pathways, not just like some of the conversations that have been going on around college or career tech vocational pathways, but also things like hopefully real diploma pathways for some of our special education students is also really important to me. So as that process kicks off, expect a lot more engagement around that. I believe I shared that OSSI is currently not doing health and education standards. We were supposed to revise those, but they will not be presenting those to the board. I expect that is due to just a lot of things that are happening with the current Trump administration and some of the uncertainty around what's going to happen with the Department of Education. As we do have more certainty, happy to share what I know, but I think uncertainty is the rule of the day for the moment. In that lane, for folks who have had questions about immigration enforcement at schools, I did share out at our public meeting, and I'll continue to share out that the Office of the Attorney General does have updated guidance around that. So if you know families who have questions or educators who have questions around just like what is lawful, what it means for us to continue to be a sanctuary city, what resources are available, happy to put the link to the Attorney General's website in the chat because again, they have updated that guidance for this current time, similar to what they did back in 2016 when Trump was in office the first time. It is a helpful resource. It is a public resource. And we want students, families, schools to know what's available to them. I did mention that there is a budget forum this evening. There'll be another one, I believe, on Saturday. I think that's at Kennedy Rec Center in the morning for folks who might want to attend that. But I believe that's everything that is before the board at the moment. It's performance oversight time. And so the board will have to do its testimony, I believe, next week. That'll be for the state board, the ombudsman, the student advocates office will all be together. And so if you're interested in our performance oversight questions, which will be posted publicly, or, just have questions about like what we've done over the last year, that is a helpful place to get a recap. But those are my updates. Happy to answer any questions if folks have them.
Well, the first thing I was going to say, because you said the mayor's event, but you didn't exactly say what it was. So it's the budget forum that we are competing against tonight. And so many people are directing their efforts there. So just wanted to be clear. And then you said that there's another one on Saturday that people can engage in. Hopefully that everyone will avail themselves and participate in that. Are there any questions from anyone from what our state board rep presented?
No questions for me. Thank you.
Thank you. I do want to share, you reminded me of something, Ebony, in your comments. There is an event tomorrow that Brookings, and I can put it in the chat for those of you who would like to sign up around this issue, this larger issue of what's going on with the Department of Education, but specifically around new guidance on race and civil rights. It is so important that we know fact from fiction, and so many things have been actually being said that is not completely accurate. And part of the goal is to scare people so that they don't even engage in certain activities. So in order to kind of push back, it would be really good to have this information to understand what's really happening, even though that we know what might be happening today might not actually be the situation tomorrow. That's how fast things are changing on the ground. But I want us to be well informed. So this, I put it in the chat. Please sign up. It's tomorrow, February 28th from 1:30 to 2:30. Brookings Institute, what do educational leaders need to know about the Department of Education, new guidance on race and civil rights? Many people, schools received a dear colleague letter that was
Mm-hmm.
deeply concerning and freaked people out. I don't know if I have a link to the colleague letter easily. Let me see if I do. No, I don't. It paralyzed people. It truly paralyzed people around addressing these issues around race and civil rights. And so this is Brookings saying we're coming back. We're going to separate fact from fiction so that people can be aware of it. I think it's so important that people are engaged and aware of this conversation. And if you know an educator, oh, thank you, Christina, for putting the letter. I believe that's what it is. Yep, you did. You put the letter in the chat. This is the letter that was sent out on Valentine's Day that paralyzed so many people, did not know what to do. Really great upheaval. You can't read it as fast, but the link is here, just giving you some sense of the letter that educators, school systems, educational entities, LEAs, departments of education received, and it really it paralyzed and scared a lot of people. So fear is the purpose, because when you're afraid, you don't know what to do. You don't know what's right from wrong. You don't know if you're violating the law, if you're not. All of that kind of keeps you unable to respond. So again, I am really hoping that we will be able to have people attend the Brookings event, because that will give us some sense of what's fact from fiction in this really strange moment where we are not clear. So I want to again share this with you just so that you'll be able to go attend tomorrow. With that, are there any other questions, comments for the good of the order? Okay. Or if not, we're going to close out. I just want to remind people that again, Representative Eboni-Rose Thompson, State Board Rep, she talked about the high school graduation requirements. The assistant superintendent is coming next month to talk to us about them. So it'll be an important conversation. Really want to remind you about nominations. The nominations committee was shared tonight. And so there's the nominations committee. So you'll get information about how to get in contact with them. We have an email address that you can send all nominations to. And then we will have, we'll take nominations beginning in March, the sample ballot in April, elections in May. We heard from our rep, got some people to sign up tonight for a committee. We'll be in contact with you. Really appreciate that. Any final announcements? Here's how you get in contact with us: register for meetings, view our monthly meetings on YouTube, talk to us through X, Blue Sky, Facebook, and our email address. Please stay connected. We appreciate you and your time, and we are done. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.